What's up, guys? How we doing?
Good. What's going on?
Hey, you know.
Is everyone joining the challenge today? That way there's nobody here, or is there a glitch in the text?
No, the text went out.
Yeah, that's really weird. Hey. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. So hey Gloria, how you doing? Verba, good to see you.
Doing
you guys
great.
are doing
How
good.
Are you?
Awesome. Very good. Very good. So I want to do a quick recap of last week and make sure we're kind of all on the same page. And with your guys' permission, I'm gonna just have kind of straight talk with you guys, just like as if you guys were on my team and if I was coaching you one-on-one. So do I have permission to have a little straight talk this morning? Is that okay? Or this afternoon, depending on where you are? All right.
Yes.
So the big thing we talked about last week was our metrics. And so what I want to do is I want to revisit that to make sure we're getting in the habit, the routine of making sure that we're tracking our metrics the right way. And if there's any habit that I want you guys to form or any addiction that I would like you guys to form in 2022, and I know that's a strong word, I want you to get addicted to your metrics. And I know we talked about this last week a little bit, but I want to reiterate some of the things that we're working on. And the foundation of everything that we're doing starts with our results, right? And if we're going to really be honest with ourselves and we're going to be honest with what's happening, we have to make sure we're tracking our results. And so I'll just tell you the story of a team that I work with on a one-on-one basis. They do about 250 transactions. And I asked them to pull up their budget sheet if they knew where their money was going. And guess what they told me? Oh, well, we don't have one of those. Really? Okay. So who agrees it's really important to know, based on our conversation on Friday, if you were with us on Friday, we had an understanding of why it was so important to make sure we're tracking our budgets, right? Well, the other thing that's important to track, and John, if you can pull up that document, the other thing that's important to track is making sure we're tracking our sales and marketing metrics, making sure we're tracking our marketing communication metrics. So by show of hands, how many of you were on this training last week when we went over that tracking document that we were using to track our metrics? By show of hands. Cool. So just if you weren't, yep, if you weren't on last week, John, if you could give them a quick rundown. And then before we get into today's training, if you have not filled this out yet from last week, we're going to pause, and I want you guys to take this time to fill it out. And so we can get in the habit of tracking our metrics. And for 2022, this is a habit that we absolutely have to get into. So go ahead, John, just give them a quick rundown, and then
Sure.
Let's make sure we give them some time to fill it out if they haven't done it yet.
Yep. So everybody that's in here, I just dropped in the chat the direct link. And then the first thing you're going to do, because you're only going to have view access to the main file, is you're going to go to File, make a copy, and then you're going to want to rename it your first and last name, Sales and Marketing Tracker 2022. And then once you make a copy, you'll have full edit access. Now, there's really 7 steps to begin working with your sales and marketing tracker. Number 1 is to enter your beginning date. So for instance, today, if you were starting this today, it would be 1/12/2022. And then the end date would be 2/12/2022. And then as you can see here, we've got transactions and revenue, we've got marketing and communications, and we've got prospecting and nurturing. So these are 3 separate tables. And what you're doing is setting up a goal for the entire month. And then it's going to keep track of your actual statistics. So if my goal is to make 100 calls a day, then I'm going to put in how many calls I make each day in these boxes here. And then I'm going to have my goal set to 3,000, because if there's 30 days in a month and I'm going to make 100 calls a day, that would be equivalent to 3,000. And then the actual is going to be a sum of all these responses that you put in each day of the week. And it'll tell you the exact percentage of your goal that you're currently at. So if I make 100 calls a day and then one day I make 80 and one day I make 70, right? I'm going to have to make up for that difference on other days to make sure that I'm hitting my goal. And you can customize, right, your rows. So for instance, we've got calls, Zillow, and ZBuyer. So if your goal is to make 3,000 calls in a month, but 1,000 of them are going to be to ZBuyer and 2,000 of them are going to be to Zillow, and you've got your SOI, you've got your database leads, right? You've got FSBOs and expireds possibly. You can copy these rows. So if I go copy and then I go insert one row below, right? It's going to copy all of the formulas that you need. It's going to copy all of the formulas here, right? And then you can just change the title over here. So calls, database, calls, FSBO, right? And we want to track how many calls we want to make to each of our lead sources. And then we want to track how many conversations we're having. So if I make 100 calls on day 1 and I actually get into contact with 20 people, I'm going to want to track that I have 20 conversations and that I booked 2 appointments. And then after you book your appointments and you actually go to the appointment, say I set a face-to-face with Isaiah at Isaiah's home, and I show up and Isaiah's there and we have our meeting, then I'm going to record that as one meeting. So our goal, right, is 1,000 calls for Zillow, 1,000 calls for ZBuyer, and 1,000 calls to our database. We want to have at least 250 conversations out of that goal. We want to get at least 50 appointments, and we want to have at least 45 meetings, right? Because we want about 90% show up rate for our appointments. And then if we track this each and every day, we'll know how close we are to our goal and how much we need to step it up towards the end, right? If we're short towards our goal. So that's the prospecting and nurturing section. We're basically just replicating that same process, but with our marketing activities. How many emails do you want to send out per month? How many text messages do you want to send out per month and per day, right? If I want to send 100 texts a day, 5 days a week, well, that's 20. So that's 20 days. So that's 2,000 text messages. So if I go in here and I add say I copy this right here, and then I go insert one below and I paste it, and I change this to text messages, right? Broadcast text messages. Say my goal for 20 days is to send out 2,000 texts, and say day 1, I send out 100, right? We're getting closer to our goal. And then say Saturday, Sunday, we don't send out texts, right? Eventually we're going to hit our goal of 2,000.
Yep.
So we're going to do this with all of our marketing communications. And then for transactions, you're going to want to know how many leads you've generated per month, right? What's your goal for lead gen? What's your goal for listing appointments and listings taken? listings launched, pending, closed, buyer leads generated, same thing, how many consultations, showings, offers, and then buyers closed.
Cool. Good. Do you guys have any questions about this? Thank you, John.
No problem.
Any questions about what we went through?
Vibha just asked a question in the chat. You said that you can't copy, you can only download.
You can make like it's not letting her make a copy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when
When
you,
I click file, it just says download.
it just says download. Okay. What browser are you using by chance?
Chrome?
Chrome? Interesting. Do you have a Google account, Vibha?
Yes.
Why don't I have Amy break off and do a session with you real quick, Amy? Give me 1 second. I'm gonna create a breakout room for you guys, okay? And then Amy, if you could just have her do a screen share so that you can see what's going on with hers, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
And just hang back for a second, Verba. So just for a second before you break out. Here's the thing, guys. I'm going to teach you guys some amazing things about generating more listings. And the reason why we're spending just the first 5 to 10 minutes before we go into training and working and honing in our metrics every single week, because you guys agree, unless we actually have the proper sales and marketing activities and we're executing on that plan, having the greatest listing presentation, having the greatest talk tracks and objections, they don't matter as much. Does that make sense? We got to make sure that we're executing on the sales and marketing plan, so that way we have enough appointments to be able to use all the other stuff that we're going to be teaching this year in 2022. And I have some really kick butt, exciting things to teach you. Okay. So I just want to pause here and give you guys an opportunity to fill out your metric sheet, just as if I would ask, one of my teammates to do that. And we'll just take about 5 to 7 minutes here, and you guys can ask questions as you're going down through it. But I'd appreciate it if you guys open up your sheet right now and start filling out what filling out your metric sheet for what happened last week, between now and last week when we talked. Can I get a thumbs up or an agreement in the chat? That's what we're going to do right now. Is we're going to take action and fill out our metric sheet. If you're committed to doing that right now, please put the message in the chat.
Isaiah, I got a question.
Yes.
Is metrics all we're going to talk about today?
No, no, we got a whole training for today. We're just taking the first 15 minutes of the training to go through metrics. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have one of my new recruits jump on. Then.
Okay, great.
Okay, perfect.
Hey Isaiah,
Yes.
I'm pretty brand new, so I don't have much metrics to input, but from one of the other trainings, I do have that like goal setting. It was another like Excel sheet. It was like
Oh yeah, the sales calculator, right?
sales calculator. Yeah, so I can take some of those metrics. I'll just fill it out to the best of my ability.
Yeah, yeah, that's great, man. That's a great place to start, is just based on what the sales calculator kicked out for you. You kind of use that to put what your goals are for your metrics, and then what you're going to want to start doing is just filling in each day your actuals. That way it auto calculates and you can kind of see what's happening.
Okay.
And what I encourage you guys to, and what I'm doing is I'm giving you guys the fundamentals of what it takes to build a power team, or to go to 100 transactions, 200, 300, 400 transactions. And whether it's our team or like teams that we mentor and coach, that you look at the DNA when they wake up in the morning, after they're done with their morning routine, they're looking at their numbers, guys, every single day. They're in their sheet, they're looking at their numbers, they're filling them out, they're updating them, and they're planning their day based on what's happening with their numbers. They're not letting their day be dictated by their emotions or what's happening in that day or what they want to do. They're building a business the right way, and they're letting the numbers tell the story of what needs to get done that day. Does that make sense by show of hands or chat, right? So that's why it's so important. This is a a fundamental thing that if it just, again, any habit that you're going to get addicted to in 2022, if you're going to get addicted to something, that's your numbers. Get addicted to filling out your numbers and watching your numbers every single day. Don't let one day go by that you're not looking at what's happening with your numbers. Okay. Your business will explode. I promise you, if you get in that habit, your business will grow really, really fast because you'll be identifying your strengths and weaknesses, and you'll hone in your skills, what you need to do to be successful. Okay. And this is one of the things that my coach first did for me, and it changed everything for me when I was kind of stuck in a rut, struggling. This is one of the things one of my coaches did for me. And it's the same thing with your health, right? If you're at the gym, right? If you're not tracking your results of what's happening at the gym and what weights you're using, what food you're eating, how much you're, how many times you're working out, all those different things. If you're not tracking your weight, if you're not tracking your circumference, if you're not tracking anything that you want to change, if it's not being tracked, it's not going to change. Does anybody have how's everything going with the sheet? By show of hands, are we filling it out? We good? We filling it out? Everything going good? How you doing, Michelle?
I'm doing great. Not ready today, so voice only.
That's okay. No, I like what you said here. So you said, it's a struggle, but it's uncomfortableness but it's what's going to make it lead to greatness. 100% agree. Yep.
And it's okay, Michelle, we get it. It's like 4:00 in the morning in Hawaii right now.
Yeah. You're allowed to still be in your pajamas. So.
But just to speak to dedication, she wakes up at like 4:00 in the morning to make sure she's on training every day. So
Yep,
I think that's very impressive.
Yep, that's right.
That is awesome.
Cool. We'll just take another 5 minutes here, and then we'll move on with today's workshop. Okay. But I'm going to ask you this every single time that you come back to this Wednesday meeting. I'm going to ask you, are your metrics filled out? Do I have your permission to do that? Right? By everybody, I'm going to ask you to make sure your metrics are filled out. We're going to take 5 to 7 minutes to make sure it's all up to par before we get into the workshop. Okay. Where this, if you guys notice, where the training is a little bit different than last year's training. This is more about getting stuff done, right? And just making sure we're not getting great information, but we have accountability, we're getting results, and it's my job, my excitement for you is you see awesome results in 2022. So yep, a little bit of accountability to Michelle's point. We all need it. How's Debbie doing today? Lizette, how are you? You guys doing good?
Are you talking to Debbie Howard?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't find the tracking sheet.
Okay.
I'm being bad, but I've been working hard.
Good.
I could fill it out if I could find it, but I can't find it.
We'll drop it in your chat.
Cool.
As a quick shortcut for now, and then I'll show everybody where to find it if they need it in a minute again.
So this week I have 1 listing and 2 buyer clients.
Let's give her a huge round of applause, guys. That's huge for Debbie. It's good. Nice job. Great work, Debbie.
Thank you.
Awesome. You got a haircut, Debbie?
Yeah,
I like it. It looks nice.
thank you. It's all everywhere.
How you doing, Dee? How's it going with your metrics? You doing good?
That's awesome that you noticed that, Isaiah. Not many men do, just so you know. Doing good.
I've had a good coach. It's called my wife. I've had a really good coach.
Oh, you have. Definitely good coach.
Yeah.
He's had practice.
I've had practice. Yeah.
Isaiah, did you dye your hair? Looks
I've
a little
learned the
darker
hard
than normal.
Yeah, I've learned the hard way. Yeah.
Can I ask a question regarding a Z buyer appointment I had yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay, so I wasn't sure it was legit because they only responded by text.
Uh-huh.
And so I confirmed the appointment 1 hour prior. I was like, this is way too easy. Because
Right.
they just said, Tuesday, Wednesday, anyway, I set the appointment. Turned out legit, went over there. It's already foreclosed with the association. And
Okay.
now the first lien holder wants to foreclose, has an auction sale scheduled for the 25th of January. So if we were to be able to help him with the first mortgage with this upcoming foreclosure sale,
Yep.
how do I deal with the association already foreclosed on him?
Bobby, I know you deal with a lot of situations like this. Maybe, Michelle, could you explain what you're talking about with Bobby or to Bobby? So, unless you-
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, no. So, back in 2017, I guess, the association foreclosed on him, but I spoke to the guy that works there and he said they've never foreclosed. And that year when they foreclosed on him, the processes changed, so they haven't been able to pursue evicting them or anything like that. They don't intend to do anything on it. So basically they own the property, I guess, they bought it for $10. But now the first mortgage is wanting to do a auction sale on it. But if we were be able to help him, like get an investor to buy the property or whatever, how do we clear that association mess?
So you could have this in two different approaches. The first approach you could take is you would have to sit down with the association, and then you would have to sit down with whoever the lenders, are the second and third in line, and you would have to negotiate it and almost do it like a short sale.
Okay.
So you say, I'm gonna list it, we're gonna sell it, and then we're gonna pay you, whatever we can. And then if we're short on paying you, he's gonna sign the title, so you don't have to deal with the attorney fees and, the taking over fee and none of that. So we'll, let's clear this up, and then you just have to negotiate that with them. Is there gonna be enough money in the deal to pay everybody off? Are you aware of that?
Potentially, I'm waiting for the prelim, but potentially if he doesn't have a whole bunch of other leads, then there looks like there may be equity to take care of both of them. I'm not sure. I don't even have numbers, so I'll find out today.
Yeah, if there's equity, you just gotta sit down with the association and whoever the second lender is, and just explain to them. And then if it does go to auction, every state is different, and I'm not sure about your state, but there's the process called an overage, right? So it'll sell at the auction, and then the funds will go and pay the liens. And then if there's an overage above that's left after the auction fees and everything, you can negotiate to have your client, you can put in your contract, hey, because you got to do paperwork, and a lot of people don't know what that paperwork is. And, as a realtor, you got to help them. You'll say, hey, I'll get you the overage, whatever that is, but I'm going to charge you 50% for that, because that's not really a real estate transaction. That's more of a, exactly. And then you can charge whatever you want for that. So let's say the overage is 20 grand. So now you make 10 grand off of it, or, whatever you guys negotiate. Because it's essentially, them not knowing, they're going to get zero. So you could say, I could maybe get you 10, 15 grand or whatever that price is. I'm not sure, what he owes on it and any of that. So I can't really be throwing numbers out there, but you can negotiate, sometimes overages work better than actually selling the property.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
But you have to check with your local state and jurisdictions, because where we are in New York State, overages get turned over to the state. So they don't release them to, whoever the previous owner was. But other states are, required to release it if the appropriate paperwork gets filed, which a lot of people don't know that. And it doesn't end up getting filed, and the state won't say anything. And then after a year or two, the state will, just keep the funds.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks. That's good.
Isaiah, I have a question about the sales and marketing tracker here.
Yep.
So in the monthly calls Z buyer, so is that 10 to 12 attempts? We are trying to call a particular lead. For example, they're not answering on the phone. They're not answering to that cash thing that, email and this. Is that the 3,000? I mean, for example, I have 20 leads that I pay for, 30 leads that I get monthly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. So if you have 30 leads you get monthly, how many people are in your, I'm going to walk through you guys an exercise right now, how many calls she should be making if she wants to work her leads right. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, if you want to work these leads right, how many people do you have in your geographical farm that you're farming?
500.
500. Okay. So, so you minimally want to reach out to them because you're not going to get a hold of them the first time around, right? So 1 to 3 times a month, I'd do some circle prospecting or touch base with your geographical farm, especially if you send a text to them or whatever it may be, and there's some interaction there.
Okay.
Then what I would do is work down your B list. So your B list is your Z buyer leads. So those are a little bit warmer. So you're going to want to make sure that in the first 2 weeks to 30 days, you're reaching out to them 8 to 12 times a piece until you get a hold of them, of course, right?
Yeah.
So, so you take let's just say 8 calls times 20, right? So you have 20 because you have 20 leads coming in.
Mhm.
So you should be making 8 calls times 20. So if anyone's good at math,
160.
awesome. So 160 calls to your Z buyer leads in a month. All right. And then you have your A list, right? Your follow-up calls, right? So these could be Z buyer leads from the previous month.
Okay.
Right. These could be people that you talked to but needed to be follow up with. This could be your sphere of your influence and your SOI. So what you do is you just take that number, all right? And then if you haven't got a hold of them yet, you just at least reach out, try to reach each one of those 3 or 4 times and for Z buyer. And then your SOI. So whatever it takes to however you're choosing to contact your SOI or your follow-ups, I think if you're leveraging our technology the right way, you shouldn't have to individually call your SOI, right? You can use the video text messaging tool to be able to touch base with them. You should be doing your weekly video to give yourself leverage there. So that's going to put you in a position it sounds like if you added all that up, what does that come out to for you?
So 160 on the Z buyer. Let's say do 100 for each month. So that's
Yep.
about, let's say, 300 there. And then my sphere, my geo leads. What do you want me to do with geo leads? 1, 2, 3 touches a month?
Yeah.
So
I'd at least call them once, at least call them once.
So that's 500. And then my sphere, I do an email and then mix it up with text. So I
Good.
do an email and a text.
Cool.
So I hit them twice a month.
So right around 700 calls, would you say?
Yeah.
Okay. So take 700 divided by however many days you're going to commit to working.
Okay.
And there's your number.
Okay.
Does that help? Does that make sense, everybody? Does that help? Like how you kind of predict? And now what you need to do is be real with yourself and say, okay, is that going to get me to my transaction goal? Because again, if you look at our metrics at 100, if we're making 700 calls in a month, we should be able to have 10% of those calls should turn into like a conversation. Okay, somewhere between 5 to 10% of those will turn into a conversation. So if you take 700, and let's just be real conservative and say if only 5% of them turn into a conversation, that's 35 conversations. And out of the 35 conversations, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but if we're really bad at converting leads, okay, you should be getting 20% of those to turn into an appointment. So that's like, you should, get 7 to 10 appointments, right? And so out of those 7 to 10 appointments, you should be able to land 3 to 4 listing opportunities or opportunities in a month. Now, D, I think that's probably a good number for you, right? Because if you're, I think it's realistic for you to do, that puts you on, you would easily do, if you committed to that plan, you do 50 transactions this year. If you
Okay.
committed to that plan.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Even if you
right.
came close to committing to that plan.
Right.
Right. And that's the exciting part. Is this is the exciting part, guys, is you are 100% in control of your destiny. That's the exciting part. Nobody dictates your paycheck. Nobody can tell you how much to make. Only you do. Right. And that's an exciting place to be, is that literally you can formulate this thing based on what you know you're willing to commit to. And as long as you stay committed to it, you are going to kick butt, make a lot of money, and achieve your goals. Right. So, and help a whole lot of people in the process. So D, I think that was a great question. Thanks for doing that, and hope that exercise helped everybody else too.
It really makes you think through this, like, okay, what do I have and how I'm going to, what's my process and how put it in a structure,
Yes.
as much as it can be structured, even though you never know if you can reach somebody on the first call or the 20th call or never.
Absolutely. Write this down, folks. The law of large numbers will never fail you. The law of large numbers will never fail you. So another way to say is consistency wins the day, right? So, or the month or the year, right? Maybe not the day, but it'll win the year. Cool. All right. So at this point, everyone should have their metrics filled out. So I'm going to move on for today's training. I'm going to share my sheet or share my screen here really quick. And just going back to the academy, what we're doing here is we're working down a game plan of exactly what it would take to get to 100 transactions a year, with the majority of them being on the listing side. Okay. That's the whole goal of these Wednesdays trainings. So if you go here again to this academy page and you click on it, once you've logged in one time, it'll auto log you in per how awesome our dashboard is. And then all the trainings that we're doing in this series, because I'm methodically going down a process here. So if you missed last week's training, you can click on this recording here and get access to last week's training. All right. If you click here, it's going to give you access to a document. Okay. This is the document that I'm using to customize and like eventually create a masterclass together out of. So if you want to get it ahead of the game, and you want to like, kind of take a shortcut or have a little bit of a cheat sheet, go down through here and use this as a checklist of how well you're doing to create your own listing machine. Okay. So everything that you see here is every single thing that you need to get in order to go to 100 transactions and beyond. Okay. Like if you look at the DNA of somebody who's doing awesome business on the listing side, it's everything on this checklist. Okay. So we're methodically working down through this list. So the core fundamentals, right, that we can't get past, and we just went over, set goals, metrics, conversations, tracking our metrics, right? The next thing is just like we were talking about, is making sure that we have the habits and routines, and that if we have limiting beliefs, we're taking care of those limiting beliefs. So how many people have ever set a goal but had a limiting belief that you feel like has stopped you from hitting your goal? Like that you just subconsciously, there's a limiting belief there, right? And you don't really, you're not 100% sold out on whether you can actually achieve that goal, right? So you got to make sure, and I forgive me for being blunt, but in 2022, it's just there. But everything else is BS if you can't develop habits and routines. And the reason why is because part of that routine has to be to lift yourself up, right? The real estate, you can get beat up. Okay. And one of the things that I've been talking about is one of the most common mistakes that people make, and why they don't ever achieve and hit their goals in real estate, or why worse, they get knocked out of the business, is because they're not able to execute their sales and marketing plan consistently. It's the number one reason. Behind that is mindset. Okay. Or maybe even before that, but mindset, and you get burnout, you get beat up. Okay. So part of this domination program goes to making sure we're developing the habits and the routines to lift ourselves up, to keep our self-confidence, right? To keep ourselves in having the right mindset. And I told a story on the challenge yesterday, and I encourage you to watch my Facebook video, because I talked about how important this is to protect your mindset, but also to reprogram your mind. So for example, if part of your routine is you're not feeding yourself with something positive like a book, or you're not doing your affirmations, and your affirmations are not recorded and you're not playing them back to you. Okay. What's happening is the world's programming your mind. And I want you to write this down. If you don't intentionally go out of your way to build yourself up, the world around you is going to dictate how you're programmed, what you're watching on TV, what you're listening to the radio, what you're putting in your mind. All of that is going to dictate what you actually become. And they're going to be there. That information essentially is your boss, because it's moving you and taking you in different directions subconsciously that you don't even know and realize. So it's so freaking important as part of this process is that you're developing $1 million routine. You're developing a routine that makes you better each day. Does that make sense, my show chat? Very important. So if you haven't locked into that in 2022, okay, get locked into it. These are the fundamentals I know we hear about and I know we talked about, but we got to keep revisiting them. And I want to ask, and I want you guys to ask yourself this question: why not me? Why can't I do 100 transactions? Why can't I become a millionaire? Why can't I do 50 transactions? Why can't I? Why don't I deserve it just like everybody else does? Okay. Bobby's not anything special. Yeah, he works hard and he's successful, but if Bobby can do it, I can do it. Right? If Dee can do it, I can do it. If somebody else can do it, I can do it. I just heard a story of actually, I did a podcast with him. His name is Nick Good, and he's crushing it on the listing side of the business with ZBuyer. Crushing it. And I was interviewing his strategies. Okay. And he was a pizza delivery guy. When he first got started, and he went 6 months having horrible success. He almost quit. And what he realized, he got introduced to a book called Failing Forward. And there was some other stuff that he started doing, but he developed a strong routine to start building himself up. And then he got a hold of a sales and marketing plan and started executing on it. Folks, 5 years later, he's doing $40 million in sales. He's got a team personally, and he's got a team of over 200 agents, and he almost quit. If you ask him what his turning point was, it was having a sales and marketing plan that he executed on consistently and making sure that he had great routines. That was his turning point. Okay. So I want to share that story with you today before we get into the next part. Now, I want you guys to ask yourself this question. Okay. Because again, I'm going to teach you some really great stuff, right? We're going to get into some really great stuff, but I want you to ask yourself this question: on a scale of 1 to 10, how well are you executing on your daily sales and marketing routine? How well are you executing that plan, right? Making the calls, doing the follow-up, leveraging your technology, sending out the text messages. Here's what I'll share with you. What's that client's name that's doing the text messages consistently every day? That's there's Larry, and then there's the other guy. Art. Okay. Art Opalton. He literally went from doing 10 transactions a year, and he was a school teacher, to now he signed up to all the lead sources we recommended. He's working his geographical farm. He sends a text message out every freaking day. And then guess what he does? He just follows up with a text message. And guess what? Because he's doing those activities, those are what are called like leading indicators, right? Those are leading indicator activities where he's got so much action going on now because he's doing the text message every day and he's following up with them. He's getting so good at his listing presentation because he's going out on 10, 15 listing presentations a month, right? Because he's doing that every day. and he's landing 3 to 7 listings every month. He's changed his life. He's changed his life. He's changed his income. He's making he's gonna make more money than he's ever made just from doing one thing, sending a damn text message out every day and following up with them. So folks, where my passion is, and I hope you guys are receiving this energy the right way. This is a positive thing, but I just want to drive home the point. Let's not overcomplicate this, right? Let's not overcomplicate this. Let's get in the right habits and do the right things, and we can change our life. Nobody else is in control of our income, right? Vanessa, great question. He sends out, I think it's 150 texts a day, like what we recommend. Is that right, Nate, or is there something different there?
I would have to double check with Matt. I want to say he might have upped it a little bit, seeing that he was having such success. But
I think you're right. I think he upped it a little bit. Yeah.
But I have to double check with Matt. I'm not his actual coach. I just know I have the successes in the meeting and stuff. So
cool. So this is where can we see how all of these things build on each other, right, guys? Like ladies and gents, you see how all these build on each other, right? Is we got to ever set our goals, check our metrics, and then we got to get into the right habits and routines, and then we got to do and execute our plan, right? All the things that we teach, right, on a consistent basis. Because then and this is the plan here, right? This is how you execute your daily sales and marketing plan. And it's all laid out, but it's just a different way to see it. Okay, I need to make sure I'm doing a text, email, postcard campaigns to segments in my database. I need to make sure that I'm following up with those things. And I can do a phone, I can do video, I can do handwritten cards. I don't care what you do, but you follow up, right? And then from there, you do your daily social media plan and you do your private social group. Maybe if I'd recommend, this is a strategy that I'm going to teach a little bit more on another day, but I'd recommend that you start your own private Facebook group for your local community and start inviting all of your friends and family. Invite all of your friends and family to that. Invite all of your past clients to it. Okay. Invite anybody that you're trying to do business with to it. Right. And then create a local Facebook group and ask them questions about what's happening in the local market. Share with them ideas about what's happening with what maybe a good restaurant that you went to, local events that are coming up. Become the community market leader of your area. And what's great is this is a non-invasive way to stay in touch with your entire database. Okay. So who likes the idea of being able to have a non-invasive way to stay in touch with your database and use a free Facebook tool to be able to stay on top in front of all of your clients and future clients and sphere of influence and vendor partners all within one Facebook group? Who agrees that's a pretty no-brainer strategy to go out and execute against? Can we agree on that by show chat? So like simple, right? Go out, invite everybody. And I want to give you some guidelines for this of how you can do this. Basically, what you want to do is you want to, part of your process as you're going through in your database and your follow-up, you want to get to the point where you're posting once a day in there. If you can't do that, to post once or twice a week in there. Okay. Well, Isaiah, I don't know what to talk about. Google it, right? Google ideas on what to post in like in your Facebook group, or Google what's happening in the local community. Post market trends. So here's the great thing. You do know what to post about. It's all the stuff in Business Video School. It's all the stuff it's all those topics that are already out there, right? So the posting ideas are there. Okay. You can post your video in there. Now you have a controlled community that you can post in. And you work on growing that group. It's a great way to create your referral network. Okay. We should all be creating a referral network. It's a great way to communicate with your vendors. So how cool how cool would this be, D, if you had your mortgage broker in there that was inviting people to the private Facebook group, right? If you had your attorney, your insurance agent, and you're all inviting people to this private Facebook group, right? And delivering education, delivering information, having great conversations. How cool is that to be building that local community in that private Facebook group, right?
Yeah, that would be good. I would just think, thinking about it, it shouldn't be too salesy or just like be more giving,
All giving.
or like sprinkle in some fun stuff, maybe some personal stuff, so people would, come to it more often versus just market trend sales, real estate related, because not everybody's doing a real estate transaction every day. It could be once in every few years. So just kind of keep people engaged. I would think the group would have to be kind of more fun with some
Yes.
business,
Correct.
something like personal, but a more business kind of. And I think the name of the group, it would be a key thing, not anything involved with, with real estate. That would be something I would have to think about.
Well, yeah. So the name of the group that we're starting up and that we've done for other clients is, we call it the best of your city. So like the best of Rochester, the best of Buffalo, the best of, so, and that's the name of your private Facebook group, is the best of. And then you could even launch like a YouTube channel that's the best of Rochester. And what you're doing is you're just posting awesome things that are happening in your community. You're giving people market updates. It's all education, right? And fun things and different things like that.
Yeah.
And then what you do is you go buy the domain name, the best of whatever city you're in, right? And you can attach that to your Facebook group page or your YouTube or whatever you want to from there.
Okay. That's a whole different new world, but I think it's great. It's a great idea.
Yep.
It's very non-invasive and constantly keep people in the flow. And
Yeah.
meet somebody, let's connect via my Facebook group. I have fun stuff, people love it and keep you engaged. Yeah, I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's going to say no to that? And when you're prospecting, it also gives you a new way to stay connected with some future clients that you want to win over or that you talk to.
Yeah. And have that in your email signature so people can connect there too.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I do have one more question about the texting you mentioned with Art. Do you, I heard I use the Ren Marketing Hub for my mass text, and I'm trying not to use the trigger words like sales and stuff, because I hear you can get blocked because if you trying to sell, cold calling cold texting.
Yep.
What are your thoughts about that? Or has anybody else any experience they have been flagged because I am selling a lot of homes in your area or whatever, right?
Yeah. So I would say if we can look more into that, but I would say just use the word moving fast. Homes are moving fast.
Okay, perfect.
There's not enough inventory.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
Good question. So who's committed to using this private Facebook group strategy? Who likes it by the show of chat or hands? That you're committed to using this strategy to go out and create a community of people. Cool. So next week, what we're going to do is we're going to revisit what we've learned today as far as the Facebook group. And for those of you that want to participate in the strategy, great. The action step I want to give you guys for today is the Facebook group. That's number one. Sorry, number one is your metrics. If you want to write this down, make sure your metrics are filled out every day. That's number one. Number two, make sure that you're getting in a great routine that's lifting you up, that's empowering you. Okay, that's making sure that your belief system, you're getting these limiting beliefs right? Knocked out of your system, and you're replacing them with beliefs that support what you want to accomplish in your life. So you're really focusing on your belief systems. That's number 2. And then number 3 is as you're looking at your metrics every day, you're getting better and better at executing on the sales and marketing plan. Okay. And that you're really honing in on that. That's number 3. Okay. The last one is for those of you that have Google LSA set up, please make sure that you have something in your calendar that you're going in there and you're optimizing your business page. If you have your coach, get with your coach and making sure that Google My Business page is being optimized and updated. Okay, so those are the action steps. You're going to generate a ton of listing opportunities off of Google this year if you do that the right way. Okay, you're going to get lots of listing opportunities. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, James Clear's Atomic Habits. I have his book. Like literally, I have certain books that I read through and I just keep around, and that's one of them. I just, you can see I have it all marked up, and I just keep going back to it. If I in a funk or want to develop a new habit, I got certain things underlined. It's right here. So that's a great book.
Can you please repeat the number 4 for the actions?
Yeah, you want to make sure that you get your Google LSA set up and optimized, and then your Google My Business page. You should be updating it and putting new pictures and videos and content in that at least bi-weekly. That's part of your sales and marketing plan. If you are with us, we're going to start doing that with you. If you're a level 3 client, we're going to start doing that with you. Okay. We're going to actually have a marketing coach in the background.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So is there any other questions for today's session? Any thoughts, questions for today's session? Okay, good.
No,
Yes, Debbie.
no, I was just saying, no extra questions for me. I'm trying to get myself all organized here, and Emily has been very helpful today, by the way.
Oh, great. Let's give Emily a round of applause. Good job, Emily. Nice. Good work. All right. So we have our action steps. And again, these are all building blocks, but if you want to get ahead of this listing domination plan and look at all the different things, you can even get ahead of it. Can we see how all of these things, by show of hands or chat, how all these stack on each other and why they're important, right? To make sure they're all in place. That makes sense to everybody? I think I froze. Okay, cool. So with that, I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day. We do have 2 new products that rolled out. You guys should check out if you're interested. We have a postcard program that we just rolled out called Postcard Pro. You can go to rensupport.com if you want to find out about it. It's a really awesome program. If you're looking to do a geographical farm or do postcards, like a custom postcard campaign to your database, check that out. And other than that, I got to hop on a challenge. If you want a really awesome training for video marketing today, hop on my challenge at 1:15. I have a guest speaker named Nick, who's going to be doing some video marketing training. I appreciate you guys. Hope you guys got value out of today's training. And I'll talk to you guys soon. John, could you drop a survey link too before this hangs up? Bye, everybody. See you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Yep.